The hurricane slammed into Cedar Creek Ranch on a Wednesday afternoon. Maria Rossi stood amid the splintered ruins of the main stable, her Italian accent sharp with urgency as she barked orders at the ranch hands. Blood seeped through Henry Caldwell's flannel shirt from where a flying plank had gashed his arm, but his gaze wasn't on the injury, it was locked on her. Just 5 months earlier, she'd been nothing more than a quiet housemaid, blending into the background like dust on the plains. Now, she was directing his crew like a general, her dark hair tangled in the whipping rain, her skirt ripped and soaked. She was unbreakable, and she was about to slip away from him for good. "You need a medic," she said, dropping to her knees in the muck, her hands shaking as she pressed a rag to his wound. Henry grabbed her wrist. "Don't go, Maria." She averted her eyes. "The whole county's whispering. They say I'm not good enough for you." "Let him whisper," he growled, pain mixing with raw emotion. "You're the toughest woman in Texas." But was it too late? Had the crush of gossip and small-town judgment already shattered what they've forged? If you've ever questioned whether love can bulldoze through barriers, stick around. This tale might just change your mind. Spring dragged its feet into the Texas Panhandle in 1892. Henry Caldwell watched from his farmhouse window as the new girl, Maria, something Italian name, he mangled on the first try-hung linens on the line out back. She'd arrived fresh off the boat from Ellis Island, seeking work after losing everything. His wife, Sarah, had passed from fever 6 years back, leaving him with cold suppers and talks with his cattle. His calloused hands had carved out a 10,000-acre spread, but they'd lost the knack for tenderness. Maria's English was halting, laced with caution. She cooked like a dream and cleaned like she was vanishing into the walls. For a month, Henry hardly registered her until that stormy night when thunder rattled the panes, and he found her in the kitchen at 2 a.m., flour dusting her apron, eyes red from silent tears. She was kneading dough under the flickering lantern. "Can't sleep?" he asked, leaning in the doorway. She jumped, nearly knocking over the bowl. "Sorry, Mr. Caldwell. I make bread for breakfast. Store makes me think of." She hunted for the words. "Of the fire in New York. Why, I lose my parents and sister." Henry, at 55, had never heard grief wrapped in such a melodic lilt. "My Sarah used to bake during storms, too," he said softly. "Hers came out like bricks, but she kept at it." Maria's hands paused, and for the first time, she met his eyes. Something unspoken passed between them, not romance. Not yet, but a shared ache from life's cruel twists. Come morning, a warm peach cobbler waited on his table. It tasted like a second chance. As spring bloomed into summer, Henry started inviting Maria to join him for supper at the big oak table instead of eating alone in the back room. She'd perch opposite him, hands clasped, responding in measured English. "Tell me about Italy," he'd prompt. "Beautiful place," she'd murmur, her voice warming. "Hills green like here, but smaller sky. You miss it." Her smile held sorrow. "I miss family, but Texas feels like I can be somebody new." Henry nodded. The frontier had always been about reinvention. Their fingers grazed when she refilled his coffee, and she didn't flinch. Then came the grip, an Augusta, nasty bug that floored him. Maria nursed him like he was kin, bringing broth hourly, reading faded newspapers from Lubbock, dabbing his brow with cool cloths. On the fourth night, feverish and mumbling, Henry clutched her hand. "Stay," he rasped. "I stay until you're better," she whispered. "Not just till then," he pressed, his eyes piercing through the haze. "Maria, I need you here." She touched his fevered cheek. "Henry." The way she said his name, soft and rolling, felt like redemption. When the illness lifted, the air between them had shifted forever. But Henry Caldwell was a big name in a tight-knit county, and Maria Rossi was the hired help. Some folks swore certain lines shouldn't be crossed. They were dead wrong. Mrs. Hargrove from the Panhandle State Bank spotted it first. Maria's dresses were calico now, finer than homespun, and she carried herself with newfound poise like a woman who knew her worth. "That Italian girl's getting uppity," Mrs. Hargrove hissed to her husband over eggs. Henry Caldwell's playing the fool. Rumors raced through town like tumbleweeds. At the feed store, chatter hushed when Maria walked in. Ladies murmured behind fans. Men leered with mixed envy and disdain. Henry brushed off the talk, but it stung Maria. "We could keep this under wraps," he suggested one evening on the porch swing, as the sun dipped behind the flatlands in a blaze of orange. Maria faced him squarely. "You ashamed?" "Never," he shot back, voice gravelly. "But this county's got unwritten laws about who belongs with who." He took her hand. "In Italy, my father was a fisherman, dirt poor, but he married my mother, a tailor's daughter. Folks said she was too fine for him." Her fingers laced with his. "They had a good life. This ain't Italy." "No," she said, her eyes flashing. "This is Texas land of the free." The county fair in September blew it all open. Henry hadn't shown his face at a social since Sarah's wake. But he strode into the pavilion with Maria on his arm, she in a sapphire gown that turned heads, he in his starched shirt and BOLO tie. The fiddle music skipped a beat. Whispers erupted like gunfire. Every soul in the hall gawked. Henry felt Maria's nails dig into his sleeve, but she held her head high. "Evening, folks," he drawled. "Fine night for dancing." The tunes picked up, but the rift was carved. All night, men asked Maria to twirl some politely, others with sly grins. Buck Harlan, the next biggest rancher, pulled her too tight during a two-step. "Easy there, Buck," Henry's voice boomed across the floor. Harlan smirked. "Just being neighborly to your maid." The word landed like a slap. Maria pulled away, face burning. "I need some air." Henry trailed her to the corral, where she gripped the rail, knuckles white. "They're right," she said, not turning. "I am Maid. You are the ranch king. Different worlds." He stepped close, inhaling her rosemary scent. "Turn around." When she did, tears glistened. "You're not my maid anymore. You're the woman I'm falling for." Her breath hitched. "Henry, I don't care what they think." "What do you think?" She studied him under the stars. "I think you best man I know." He cradled her face, rough thumbs gentle, and kissed her. The world dissolved into her warmth, her sigh against his lips. But small towns don't dissolve easily. Come dawn, the backlash hit. A posse of Amarillo's elite Mayor Wilkins, Banker Hargrove, Sheriff Dawson, and a few more rode up to Cedar Creek before coffee cooled. They set their mounts in Henry's yard like judges at a hanging. "Henry," Mayor Wilkins called, all fake cheer. "We got to chat." Maria watched from the kitchen as Henry stepped out, mug in hand, stance loose but eyes hard. "About what?" "About keeping standards in our community," Sheriff Dawson said. "Texas is pushing for progress. We need to look respectable. And I ain't." Banker Hargrove leaned in. "We think you're risking your name man hours with that girl. She's beneath you." From the window, Maria saw Henry's jaw tighten. His reply cracked like thunder. "You got 10 seconds to ride off my land, for I lose my manners." They went, but the warning lingered. Pick status or pay the price. That night, Maria found Henry in his study, nursing bourbon. "I heard," she said softly. He looked up. "Maria, I quit." The words gutted him. "What?" "I quit. I leave tomorrow. You find a proper wife, make a proper life." Her voice held steady, but tears fell. He surged to his feet, chair toppling. "Like hell." "Henry, please." He gripped her arms. "You think I care about those fools?" "About the county. You should. Texas, your home. These people are your people." "No," he said fiercely. "You're my home now. To hell with them." Her eyes shimmered with doubt and desire. You sure? Instead of words, he kissed her, fierce and hungry, pouring out years of solitude. She yielded, hands clutching his shirt, body pressing close. He scooped her up, heading for the bedroom, her legs around him as the door slammed. They were half unbuttoned, breaths ragged, when chaos erupted outside, crashing timber, panic horses' shouts. They froze. Fire, Maria gasped. Henry snatched his shotgun, peering out to see flames devouring his tool shed. The threat was blatant. By morning, the shed was ash, tools worth a fortune gone. A scrawled note on the fence read, "Send the foreigner packing." Maria stood in the ruins, ashen with blame. "This is my fault." "No," Henry snarled. "This is coward's work." But Maria's resolve hardened. While Henry tallied losses with his foreman, she bundled her things and headed for town on foot. She made 4 miles before Henry thundered up on horseback. Without a word, he dismounted and yanked her into his embrace. She pounded his chest. "Let go. I bring trouble." "You bring everything good," he murmured into her hair. She sagged against him, weeping. "They burn your shed. What next?" "Hurt you." He held firm. "Latching try." 3 weeks later, the hurricane roared in. Maria was pinning wash when she spotted the funnel cloud barreling across the plains. She yelled for the hands to secure the livestock, then dashed to the stable where Henry was tending a lame colt. Winds howled like demons. The roof tore off in chunks. Henry shoved Maria toward the root cellar as a beam crashed down, smashing his shoulder. She screamed his name into the gale. When the storm cleared, Maria dug him from the debris, blood matting his hair. For a heart-stopping second, she feared the worst. "Help!" she commanded the hands. And they obeyed not the foreman, but her. "Get boards. Make litter. Fast." Her accent thickened with fear, but her command was iron. Henry stirred 2 days later in the doc's office in Amarillo, Maria's weary face the first sight. "You're up," she whispered, beaming through fatigue. "Ranch okay. I handle all." He tried sitting, wincing. "How long?" 2 days. "Doc says concussion. Stay in town a week." A week under prying eyes? He took her hand. "Maria, marry me." She blinked. "You hit your head hard. Never been sure. Marry me today." Tears flowed. "People will let him. Will you?" She searched his eyes, finding only certainty. "Yes, I marry you." They tied the knot the next day in Sheriff Dawson's office, the same man who'd warned him off. Irony thick as molasses. Maria, in her sapphire dress. Henry bandaged but beaming. The sheriff's wife witnessed, lips pursed, but even she sniffled at the kiss. "You may kiss your bride," Dawson grumbled. Henry didn't hesitate. Fall swept into the Panhandle in 1893. Maria Caldwell misses. Henry Caldwell stood on the rebuilt porch, hand on her growing belly, watching her husband break a new Mustang. Mority's Bakery opened in Amarillo 4 months post-wedding. At first, the uptight matrons boycotted that immigrant shop, but Maria's cannoli and pies won battles prejudice couldn't. Now, it buzzed daily. Even Mrs. Hargrove conceded her peach cobbler was unbeatable east of the Rockies. Henry swung down from the saddle, still handsome at 56 with gray streaks. "How's my girl?" he asked, arms encircling her. Like a buffalo, Maria laughed, resting against him. "But happy. Boy or girl?" "Boy," she said, stubborn like his pa. He felt the kick. "Regret the hassle?" She pondered. It had taken time, but Amarillo thawed. Their ranch flourished, the bakery thrived, and Henry sat on the county council. "The good one stood by us," he said. "The rest don't count." She smiled, fierce as ever. "I love you, Henry Caldwell. And I love you, Maria Caldwell." They lingered there, sunset gilding the plains, wind whispering of fresh starts. The land had hammered them, reshaped them, and rewarded them. As stars dotted the vast Texas sky, Maria knew she'd claimed her place. What do you think in love really smash through class divides and bigotry like this? Share your take in the comments. Do you side with the town's old guard or root for the underdogs? Spill your thoughts. I'd love to hear your stance.